Hey everybody, welcome back to the Foundry. It is I, Sly, and today, John, Ken, and I are reviewing a new series, She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. How you lads doing today?
Hey,
Ooh,
what's
doing
happening?
great.
We got a new series on Disney Plus that isn't utter shit.
Woo. Hey, the last one we reviewed was not utter shit.
You're
Had a
goddamn
great
right.
Few
Well,
episodes.
no, because I wasn't there.
Yep, they were.
You were. That's true. You missed out.
Did I, Ken?
I'd say so. There was Brie Larson at the end of that show.
Okay,
So
she was kind of hot at that end scene, but other than that, I mean,
But we're talking about She-Hulk today. It's something else.
Nice.
Yes.
I'm interested to hear people's thoughts on this one actually.
Nice big
Because
green
this one
lady.
I've seen. Yeah, big green lady. Like it got a lot of interesting backstory. There's a lot of history with the comics with how this character's been handled. So I'm kind of interested to hear you guys' thoughts as we kind of walk through it a bit.
So approaching this, I don't know. I didn't know a lot about She-Hulk. Besides, I know that in some prior comics that she just had a lot of lesbian relationships, and a lot of people had that focal point. And that's all I pretty much knew. Besides that, she was also a lawyer. Then I was like, oh, cool, She-Hulk, another show. The trailer, which we all saw. I think Sly, we did the react, and the CGI was atrocious, and it just looked like her, like living life. Didn't see a lot of a lot of stuff going on, which is like fine. I mean, like there was a lot of WandaVision of that too, where it's like it's a family show instead of like being a drama or anything like that. So like if it is a lawyer show with like superhero bits in it, like cool, that'd be all right. I'm fine with that. And that first trailer, like that's what it all depicted. But like this first episode, dude, I really enjoyed it. Very positive. I liked it a lot. Mark Ruffalo did fantastic in it too. They had really good chemistry, which surprised me. I thought that they were gonna bang at one point too because they're being weird. Am I the only one? Am I the only one?
no.
Exactly.
I was getting uncomfortable. I was like,
You'll
bro,
have to you'll have to tell me which specific scenes you're thinking about because I did not get that vibe.
It's the collage where they're like doing yoga.
Maybe
and
it's
shit
because like
together.
I'm a little insecure because I'm down south, more down south than you are, Ken. But it's just like the slightest vibe. I'm just like, get the fuck away from me, you know? I don't like it.
I can't watch this.
It's Wincest. No, I liked it a lot. It was a pretty good show. There was a couple. The beginning was like felt so fast and rushed, and there was an alien spaceship you see,
fast.
and then they just don't mention it ever again of why there was an alien spaceship. They just like breezed over that. He's like,
I gotta
it's
get
like
to the bottom of that.
it's a classic shit. Don't worry about it. And she's like, huh, whatever. I'm green now.
Yeah,
They changed that from the comics, their origin story.
true, but it does make sense actually.
I don't know. The whole Hulk HIV thing was a little.
I thought that was
unusual.
weird. That really
It was weird,
surprised
yeah.
me. I
Well,
didn't.
that's like,
but-
well, dude, like, hasn't he bled on countless people that have like bled before? Like, I would have thought.
So I agree with that. I also thought it was weird upon first watch. I was like, that feels like such a weird way because like I was also thinking like he's had to have bled other places.
Yeah, dude,
But
15
I guess
years
the
of Hulk.
the Hulk really doesn't bleed. He bled in his human form because he had that thing on his arm.
Oh, that's
that
a very
was
good
keeping
point.
him in human form. So I was like, okay, I guess that makes sense. Because in the comics, he does a blood transfusion to save her because she's
Yes.
dying in an accident, which is kind of similar to this. But also, like, the Hulk in this universe, as we've seen so far, would really try to avoid that if possible because he's been very careful about not getting blood anywhere.
He's
So,
been
like,
yeah, he's
it
had
kind of makes sense. I don't know.
I
I'm
remember
okay
the
with
last
it.
time he bled was when Thanos whooped the shit out of him.
Right.
and then
So-
he's been very like just careful. Yeah, very careful
Yep.
with just the Hulk, and he's very just worried and cautious about everything, which I can understand. Which like when you think about it, like they go over it like very lightly, and they kind of breeze through like the Hulk and Bruce Banner as a character, like as a whole. Like I said, like 15 goddamn years, like almost like what. Yeah, almost 15 years of a Hulk, and multiple
Yeah.
movies, one solo movie that Mark Ruffalo wasn't even in,
Yeah.
but technically that's still canon, right? Edward Norton.
Yes. Yeah. That's
Yeah, because
technically canon.
Abomination and Tim Roth and stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know if Thaddeus Ross is in it, R.I.P., but is that his name, Thaddeus Ross, right? Red Hulk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
So what was I even saying? Oh yeah, they don't really talk about like everything he's been into, and a lot of people have been bringing this up to light because in the show they're comparing each other's like lives quite a bit and dealing with anger and dealing with insecurities and
Yeah.
anxiety, and there's just a lot of back and forth between them, like comparing themselves and their lives. And there's just a lot of people on Twitter I see and like other social media like, hey, this character also has been through a lot of stuff too. And it's like, damn, dude, like I wish they'd kind of have a bit of focal point on Hulk's life of like everything he's been through, of like him trying to kill himself and having to isolate himself for years and years and years, and like losing the closest people to him. You know, like the first times where it's like they brought to your attention the relationship of Tony Stark and Hulk, or Tony Stark and Bruce. And when Endgame happened, like 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Why did they take 5 years?
Ooh,
like
no.
2019, 3, it's a while ago.
Are you talking about like the actual year the movie came out, or like
the movie? I'm
timeline?
just curious why it took so long for them to just like talk about like this thing. Like, man, like I don't want to binge watch the entire MCU every single time something new comes out to remind myself, because they don't want to like remind people of relationships and stuff.
Quick 2-minute recap or something, like a flashback or something, to like bring that back up and refresh your memory when something significant happens would be nice.
Yeah, and I mean, which they were doing with like they showed them carving their names into the wood and stuff, but like, damn, dude, I mean, like there's so much history with these characters, and it's just it's magical to see like everything fall into place now. And I just forgot, you know, like how important and how much the Hulk has been through, like in all of these other movies that he technically wasn't the star in, you know, or the focal point.
Yeah. I guess one thing I want to get your guys' opinion on this, because you brought up the point about them comparing their lives and dealing with anger and stuff like that. And I guess we could talk about that more, but I was scrubbing through before to kind of think of different things I wanted to talk about. But one of the scenes was right after she gets the blood in her, she goes into the woods, she passes out, she wakes back up, she's all like beat up and like gross, she's got like blood all over her, and she goes into a random bar to go into the bathroom to wash up. And then the other women come in and they're like super supportive.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
I found that was interesting. I liked that that's like a possibility. I felt it was a little bit like, does that really happen? Like every time you see something like that depicted in movies otherwise or shows, it's usually they're just like either dismissive or like ew, gross, or like that sort of a thing. So like that was kind of interesting, something I noted. And then also like immediately afterwards, she's like standing outside waiting for a ride, and the guys start like immediately going up to her and being super aggressive. And I thought that was a bit, I don't know, I guess as not a woman, I don't know what that's actually like, but I don't know, that seemed
felt
like
very
just
unnatural.
a little bit like, yeah, it was like the two scenes right next to each other felt very much like, let's really make this point about women being supportive of women and guys being predators that are going to immediately like try to like get you in their car and like take you away or something. I just felt it was a little bit too much.
Yeah, so it's very nail on the head.
I agree with the points. I think it was just a little bit too much all at once. Like you could have made those a little bit more subtle or less like obvious, I guess. Just more realistic. I mean, I guess that is realistic. I don't know.
Like if I think you're right, because like if a movie or show needs to tell you something, like they don't need to be like, it doesn't need to have a black screen with a white text and tell you like you need to feel this way about this set of characters and you need to feel this way about this set of characters. Like, okay, and what those scenes were pretty close to doing that. And that's not great for TV, you know, just to be straight up and treat your audience like a moron, be like, and that's how it feels like when it's like super fast and rushed and just not great acting, and it's just like, man, dude. Also, why the fuck would you need to sneak into a bar if you're in a car accident?
I don't know why she didn't just call someone.
Yeah, why did she just like walk up there? Help! I've been in an accident.
Yeah, she just
like, why she need to sneak in there?
That.
Like,
That's
what the fuck?
I don't know why.
I thought this was the weirdest. She's like, oh, I need to sneak in the back. For some reason, people just can sneak in the back in a bar.
Yeah, it was just a little bit weird of a scene for me.
Altogether, yeah, for sure, weird.
But
weird and think tackled to the floor by her cousin.
Yeah,
and then passing it. Like how long?
Absolutely pile drive the shit out of that woman.
How long? Like what time period transpired between that and then her waking up again? Because it feels like it was a decent amount of time, like when she wakes up again later.
Yeah, from the wreck and like from that scene, there was just a lot going on of like blurry vision and sleeping and waking up. I'm like, who am I watching? I'm like, is she green? Like, is she green right now running away? Like, I couldn't even tell. But yeah, it was just a lot of just random. Like at first when Bruce was like, get away from me, like I'm bleeding. I was kind of like, what? Like, I don't get it. It didn't click with me at first when he said that.
Right. They went a little too fast. Like he needed to say like, get away from me. I'm gonna bleed. You're gonna be infected or something. I don't know.
Or they could have
Yeah,
done
I
it
agree
like
with
a
that.
cut to like the molecules being affected like in her arm or something like that, of her slowly like absorbing the gamma radiation.
Scene.
Yeah, or like I don't know, like zoom on in and show her DNA getting twisted like on the spot, like to see what's happening instead of be like, I don't know, that kind of was weird. That was just kind of left me in the dark. And
Yeah.
I didn't understand until much later because I was sitting there thinking for the longest time. I was like, how the fuck did she become Hulk? Like I was just
My
thinking.
big pet peeve was how she turned back like the first time when he starts like training her, and like they don't show it. He's like, we gotta figure out how to get you to change. And the next time you see her, she's just back to her normal self. I was like,
Because she slept, I think. Right.
I know, but like it just bothered me because then they waited until the next scene after that to be like, oh, so you do go back to yourself. When you
Yeah,
sleep.
they were just more very consistent. Like if they're gonna make a
That's
point
the
like
problem,
that,
yeah.
like yeah.
I think it's probably budget. I
Yeah.
bet you they were dealing with budget issues with trying to. I heard there was stuff about like we got to cut more scenes with her in it, or like can we have more scenes with her just not as like She-Hulk,
Yeah.
so that we can save budget. And I was like, I guess that makes sense. It feels kind of shitty. And then that whole thing with like right after that where I had mentioned like it felt like a good amount of time went by when she wakes up and finds him because he then mentions that his arm is healed because of her DNA, like how she reacted to the radiation instead, right?
Right.
Because like in the car, his arm is all still busted
Yeah.
from
The snap.
the snap,
Right.
and then cut later they're talking and he's all healed and fine, and he mentioned something about it being fine because of like she adapted better to the radiation or something, and that helped him heal. And I was like, what? You're just gonna like spend 2 minutes to explain that? I don't.
Was
Ah,
super
there's-
important, bro. When he was sitting there talking about his arm being busted, I had no idea what the fuck he was on about. I completely forgot.
When
Dude.
the Infinity Snap. Yeah.
I know.
I,
I was
hated how
like,
they undid it.
I
immediately.
forgot.
They're like, oh, you fixed me.
I completely forgot. I was like, man, what's up with his arm? I guess it's some Shang-Chi shit. And I was like, oh fuck, dude.
Yeah,
he did the snap.
Shang-Chi shit.
I'm just like completely forgot about it.
Yeah, and just I guess that was just weird. And like, I don't know. It's the classic. She's just instantly good at everything type of thing. Kind of got to me. Like they needed to stretch it out a little bit more of her like adapting to everything.
Yeah,
But
he's.
I don't know
like-
how she's in the comics. Like if that's just like characteristic of her character. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just so dismissive to the Hulk. I feel like and the struggles that he's went through, and which he kind of conveys that emotion that he feels like his struggle has been dismissed.
He's jealous.
And-
He says he's jealous. Am
Yeah.
I jealous? Like,
Not only that, like she literally straight up says like I'm better at controlling my anger than you are. Like she straight up like even says it verbally, dismissing his anger and shit like
that's fine.
that he's
I mean,
went through.
I mean, yeah, that kind of was a little annoying. I mean,
Yeah.
her being able to control her anger, sure, maybe she's just characteristically
live very
better
different
at that.
lives.
Not because specifically she's a woman, but just her as a person, she's just better at it. Sure, I can believe that, but not just because you're like a female. Like I feel like that's a little bit.
yeah, it's
that's a
person to
little bit
person,
much.
you know? Like
Like she just as Jen Walters, she's dealt with a lot of shit, and maybe she's just good at it. I don't know,
yeah.
but
I mean, she made a lot of good points of what she went through and stuff, which is
yeah, no, for sure.
I could totally believe that, you know? That's just how fucking life is, unfortunately. A lot of social stuff like that, especially like she said, the workforce and just the work hazards of dealing with fucking moronic people just because they have money, they are
Yeah.
intelligent. It's just, there's just a lot of weird stuff like that where they were having dialogue, and I'm just like, this is not totally believable. I'm not really into it.
Yeah, just a little forced. Like the points are good. Totally agree with most of them. They're just a little bit unnatural. Didn't really
I
flow
agree.
quite right. It didn't feel like a real conversation two people would have, and so it pulls you out a little bit.
And they were just they did really good with that with what they were doing. Like if they're gonna force that shit down your throat, then they did like switch to like here's some scene of them throwing boulders and it's like cool CGI and cool explosions and stuff. Like here's pretty like Mexico oceans and dirt and like beach for you. They like kept switching back and forth, and I was like, that's good. Like kind of stimulate you for a minute. Then it's like here's man natural like discussion and podcasting they're doing with each other, and I was like, no, like. What'd you guys think of the whole her not wanting to learn how to be a Hulk and control her anger and stuff? Her just wanting to get back to be a lawyer.
Typical.
I feel like that's understandable, to be honest. This was like suddenly just forced upon you, and like she has no interest in that. She wants
Sounds
to
like
be a
every
lawyer
superhero
still.
origin ever for the most part. They're just like, I didn't ask for this. And then they're
Yeah.
just kind of like, oh, fuck. Like, if not me, then who? And then they fall into it.
Yeah.
Right. By the end of the
I,
episode, she kind of does that, and she's like, okay, I guess I got to do what I got to do.
would you guys think of like how her narrating the story and her origin be like, oh, this is what happened then, you know? I really
like
liked
her
it.
looking at the cam.
Yeah, I really
like,
liked
fourth
it.
wall?
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
I didn't
think-
mind it. As long as it's not overdone, I think it's a good call.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like, and then at
I mean, it
some
makes
point,
sense.
even Bruce looked at it over and he was weird. Like, I don't know if he was
Yeah, he's
in
like,
on
what
it.
was that?
Yeah,
no.
it was good. It was good. I liked
He
it.
looked confused.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think She-Hulk is like one of the first, if not the first character to actually do that in Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
Like Deadpool is famous for it, but she actually did it before Deadpool, I think.
Oh, that's interesting.
If I saw it in another video, someone was talking about it. I was like, oh wow, that's really interesting if that's true. So
Wait, yourself?
don't quote
you
me on
didn't
that.
go through years and years of Shield comics and appearances she made in other comic book lines.
all Marvel Comics to confirm whether that's true.
I've
You
got to
mean to tell
cut.
me you're referencing something you didn't see on the Foundry, son? Get
We've
outta
got to
here.
cut this,
Oh
bud.
shit!
We can't have this. Can't cite other sources, dude.
Sorry, I was talking to Talus. He knew about it.
Oh,
And so I don't know what his sources is, but yeah, I believe.
No, I like that. I wasn't a big. I thought it was kind of weird how she was like, I need to get back and help people, and he's like, hey, like here's my experience that I've had as me as a Hulk is that I'd go absolutely insane and destroy cities. Like, are you not worried that you might do the same thing?
Well,
I don't know why
Yeah.
she wouldn't
No,
be
that
like
makes-
kind of concerned, or
Yeah.
like at least caution or like hear him out. But I don't know.
yeah, I agree. I mean, it makes sense from the fact that she's new to this, so she doesn't really have a sense of how dangerous it actually is.
Yeah,
but she's
like a
also
reference.
seen him do all of these things.
Yeah,
He's very
exactly.
much in the public
Yeah.
eye. Like if it was just some scientist dude saying, "Oh, you could cause massive damage," just some random dude, not her cousin or something, then I could understand her being like, "Oh, I don't believe you. It'll be
She
fine."
also doesn't have the struggles he had. He had, two separate personalities that, one would take over when they were the host. She doesn't have that. She has that full control, probably because, she's so in tune with her emotions that she could just flip it on and off like a switch.
Yeah, but
He
I
didn't
don't
have that luxury.
know. Yeah, I don't know like how confirmed and like how foolproof that was. With like I don't know how long there, a couple weeks of research. I just would be like, I don't know, a little bit try to be a little bit more understanding and patient with that, but.
Right.
I get it. She's a very impatient person, and she's very like kind of impulsive with
And
that.
ironic, she's a lawyer. You'd expect her to be, kind of going the long route with things.
By the book,
Yeah.
Jesus, yeah. You'd
Exactly.
expect her to, be like take her time and
Do the
really,
work.
like invest into exactly, yeah.
Yeah, but maybe that's just like I'm not necessarily griping. I'm just like, hey, that's weird. Maybe that's just the character that they are writing. Not every I guess main character is going to be the perfect, like a person that we expect them to be, and be logical and rational and stuff. Maybe they're writing her to be like a little impatient and kind of stubborn on purpose, which. Maybe I think that is probably the case because the way that her and just like Bruce are constantly like butting heads.
Yeah, and then right at the end, they actually butt heads and they start fighting.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was done pretty well for the most part. The CG
Yeah.
was pretty decent. The fight was pretty good. She picks up his moves a little too fast for my personal taste, but
I
whatever.
agree.
That's just how these shows have been for the most part in recent iterations. But whatever. I mean, I think he still kind of won, in my opinion. But
Oh, yeah.
it doesn't really matter. I
love me
mean,
some Hulkster.
if I would have been actually mad though if she beat him and got him to like say mercy or some shit. I would have been legitimately upset.
I'd have been very
like
upset
there's
too.
no way you're gonna bring in a new character and say that she already beats the Hulk. There's absolutely no way, my man. That you'd immediately bring me out of the show. I'd be like, well, I don't know if I can watch the rest of the show because I can't believe the rest of what you're gonna put on this show if you say that the Hulk who's been doing this for freaking 15 years is gonna be beat up by someone who just got this like a month ago or something. I don't know. So
Yeah. Do you think we'll see? I don't think we'll see more Bruce Banner on the show. What do you guys think?
I think he'll come back towards the end, probably just to pay off this Sakaar reference.
Yeah.
I think so, probably. Yeah.
There'll be a bit. Probably not as much.
Yeah, like I said, probably budget stuff with Mark Ruffalo. I don't know how much of an A-lister he is, but I'm assuming he's pretty high up there since he's been in like every fucking Marvel project since 2010 or something. But that'll kind of. But like, hey, I'm excited that we have confirmed that there's a character from other trailers. We didn't do a react on it, unfortunately, but we know that a certain character is returning from the Marvel Netflix shows, which I'm really excited about.
True.
Yeah. Don't you hate it when you have one of these main shows introduce a character, then you just have another character inside that show, and they just want to make a shitty spin-off? And that's what they're doing with Daredevil. Gonna make a shitty spin-off of it. Isn't that annoying?
Yeah.
Like, we had Echo show,
yes.
and then we had the fucking Agatha, whatever the hell her name is, show, and then we got Daredevil. I'm sick of this shit. I'm honestly sick of it. You know? Like, just
super
focus.
funny.
No, it's funny. It is.
Daredevil's actually, I heard it's supposed to be a long show, too.
That's like 16
Yeah,
episodes,
like
I think.
18, 16 episodes.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I'm excited. It's just
I
like,
hope they actually do it justice.
oh, man, I hope so.
But how'd you guys feel about that Captain America reveal?
I don't really care.
I thought it was a little funny.
It was
I
funny,
thought
but it was like, what was the big deal about this?
felt a little bit weird coming from her.
Yeah,
because
clashing
she was going on
themes.
about the like how women have it bad, and then she's like very interested in someone else's like sexual habits. That felt a little bit weird to me. But
I felt like it was definitely clashing themes with like, hey, she feels sexualized and she feels like an object, and you know, it's just not because of her, it's just because of like that's how women are treated in this day and age. And then she's just like, oh, my celebrity crush is Steve Rogers, and she's just talking about him and sexualizing him and just doing all those things. And she said that she's done to her and she did not like, and she proceeded to do it to somebody else. I thought that was strange.
I agree with it being strange. Not I mean, it felt realistic in that's
For sure,
totally
yeah.
what would happen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that people would totally talk about. But it just, when they're telling you one thing in the show and then they're telling you a very opposite thing, I'm just like, well, you got to pick one.
Yeah, one to be a little consistent with it, but yeah, there was like
Not
a
a
couple
huge deal.
stuff in the show that I was just like, that's weird, but nothing I'm like, that is objectively bad and they made a mistake. But I overall I was very positive about it, which really surprised me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think
Yeah, it was a
overall
good show.
fairly solid so far. Decent way to start the show.
All right, number ratings, boys. My green boys, my green greasy boys, my green gamma boys.
I think I'm gonna go with a 7. Solid 7.
I gotta stay neutral for the first. I think a 7 is a solid start to it.
All right, I'm gonna go with the 6.9 and a half. Nah, I go 7. 7's fine. Yeah, 7's good. 7's pretty good. I'll call it there.
Yeah.
I'm just really curious. What about? Hang on. The fight at the end was so fucking funny and rushed too. It was just like, I felt like they were going for it to be super corny, and they did it really well, and I liked it. And I was really drawn out by when she put her shoes back on and with the CGI legs and shit. And I was like, that's fucking weird, dude. That's all I thought about after, like, for hours afterwards. I thought about her weird legs and CGI, like, feet going
Wait,
back
was it
into the
really?
Was it?
really that weird? I didn't notice it.
It was just weird
His
to
legs
me.
looked a little unusual. Yeah.
It looked weird to me. Yeah, maybe.
That feels like the stuff that I noticed in Miss Marvel, where like that whole scene where she's running through the city after getting her powers. It's just her. It's just CG. It's not actually her running and through
That's
the city,
so
like
weird,
from platform to platform. It was just 100% CG. I was like, that looks weird.
Wonky.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, 7's pretty good. I'm really excited for the next episode. I cannot wait. They should really bring Daredevil in, obviously.
Yes.
I'm very
I hope
excited
they
about
do some
that.
lawyering.
Yes, I'm down for the lawyering. I like in the episode how Bruce said where he says, "Don't lawyer me."
Yeah, that was funny. That was good.
I enjoyed that. So yeah, I recommend it. You know, if you guys are into the show at all,
Agreed.
like I recommend it. It's not super. This episode is pretty superhero-y, but like I don't know, maybe like I think it's not going to be your typical like show, like kind of like you expect with a lot of MCU movies, and that's yeah. I think with the
Yeah,
shows,
agreed.
it's good to have a different expectation, and if you go into it that way.
Yeah. I agree.
But hey, if you guys enjoyed the review, make sure to drop a like, maybe a comment, give us your thoughts on the very first episode or what we had to tell you guys today. And we'll hopefully see you later on episode 2 of She-Hulk. But until then, bye slugs.
Peace.
Bye.
Gracie. Drama.
It was, yeah. It was so annoying. Having lots of sex. Can we please have that as the intro?
That'll probably be our outro blooper, like we did with was it Falcon and the Winter Cuckold when I told you guys about how I didn't do a single intro.
I love that.
You didn't watch one of the episodes? Was that one?
No, I didn't admit to that. Don't say that. Now I can't put this in.
Like, oh, you can't put the bit. You can't put the bit.